Alright, you saw the title, you clicked on the video, you already know. Today we're going to be talking about a very rare and expensive film stock. So what exactly is this film stock? Well, it is none other than our beloved Fujifilm Natura 1600. For those of you who don't know what that is, the reason why it's so rare and expensive is because, number one, it's a really good film stock. It produces these pictures with really nice pastel colors, which just look really bright and dreamy and vibrant, unlike my future. And number two, it's a color film stock that also has a really high ISO of 1600. And it doesn't sound like a lot for you digital photographers, but in the film world, yeah, 1600 is pretty damn high. So the combination of the really nice colors and high ISO just makes this film really coveted and sought after by photographers in the film community in general. Oh yeah, and not to mention, Fujifilm just killed off this film stock for whatever reason a couple years back. So yeah, it's basically no longer in production, and any copy you can get your hands on now is basically just one of the remaining few that haven't been sold off yet. And yeah, so now I'm just making this video, definitely not to justify my $90 purchase for one roll of film. Life is short, do something crazy every once in a while. Do not approach me for advice about your finances. So to kick things off, I met my friend Cheryl at this cafe whose name I won't even try to pronounce. And it was just such a nice and aesthetic place that I decided I had to start loading my film and begin shooting some Natura bangers of the interior of the cafe. That's that. Film loses light sensitivity as it expires, and this particular roll expired in 2019. So the rule of thumb for color negative film is that it loses one stop of sensitivity every 10 years. So after doing some quick math in my brain, I decided to set it at 1250 ISO. First impressions of the film stock, it's pretty grainy, which shouldn't come as a surprise because it's a high ISO film stock. I think I could have overexposed a bit more, especially for the indoor shots to get the more pastel-y and futuristic look, which I was going for, but oh well, it still looks pretty good, I guess. Anyway, in the cafe, there was a man with a Leica Q3. He was shooting with it, which made me immediately develop an inferiority complex, and I wanted nothing more than to leave the cafe and never show my face again. Once we finished our food, we decided it was time to move on, and we headed down the street, where we chanced upon this really nice art gallery furniture place looking thing. And yeah, I got this absolute baller shot from it. I'm just really happy with how it looks. It's so clean, I love it. We continued walking and eventually ended up at Singapore Art Museum at Tanjong Pagar Distripark. There's a bunch of art galleries there, so we went inside to take a look. And yeah, it's just artsy stuff everywhere, which is great. So anyway, I had a hard time trying to decide where to shoot this film because I didn't really know how to make the most of its talents as a high ISO film stock that was also daylight balanced. My indoor shots all came out with this really hot, sweaty and orange look. I think because it's a daylight balanced film, so shooting in any artificial light just leads to this warm and yeah, very orangey tone that I don't really like, especially when you compare it to the video footage I shot, where it seemed more white and futuristic. I really like the shots I got from the gallery. I'm not sure whether the shots would have looked nicer if I exposed a little bit more. I guess I'm okay with this contrasty look, but maybe dreamy pastel would have worked better. So after finishing our walk around the galleries, we decided to have a look outside the place, and the sun was beginning to set, so we obviously had to capitalize on that. And it was great because it was finally time for the high ISO capabilities of this film to shine. The sunset only got nicer and nicer, so we just kept climbing higher to get nicer views. I managed to capture a few cityscapes from up there, as well as this absolute banger portrait of Cheryl. Like, the focus was on point, the exposure was on point, the bokeh, the colors. Cheryl was also shooting with the X100, and here are some of those pictures. Overall, I'm quite a fan of how this film performs at night as well. It's definitely not as dramatic as something like Cinestill 800T, and the colours from Natura at night are definitely more natural and true to life. Anyway, soon after, the security came to us and asked us to leave, which probably got us put on some kind of government hit list or something. The next day, I headed to this building called GAIA at NTU, which is supposedly this carbon neutral building that's made out of a lot of wood. There's lots of natural light all around, and yeah, everything looked really aesthetic, so I decided to come down and check the place out for myself. There were sun rays streaming in from the glass above, casting these really nice shadows, which is where I got my first shot. And I also got this other banger with all the light rays streaming in from the top. I think the dreamy pastel dreams were truly fulfilled here at GAIA. I think the combination of the materials used for the building and the futuristic design and the natural light just came together to make this magical combination of dreamy pastel, which is exactly what I've been chasing with this film stock. Anyway, once I was done, I was left with just a couple of shots in the roll, so I decided to go back to National Library building at Bugis to relive my A-level trauma. Coming here every day to study last time was truly a core memory. I went up to level 11, which was always the best floor to study on. Level 7, 8 and 9 is always ass, because the seats are always taken up. I think shooting clean, futuristic interiors is the thing to do when you have Natura 1600 loaded in your camera. And just like that, the roll of film was finished and 90 of my Singapore dollars were down the drain. So overall closing thoughts, was this roll of film worth $90? To be honest, I'm not quite sure. Could I have achieved the same results with another cheaper film stock? Maybe, but I'm really happy with the pictures I got on this roll anyway, so I think the high ISO unlocked handheld shooting in blue hour for me, which is something rare for film shooting. Oh yeah, and light leaks. So there were actually a lot of light leaks in the pictures I took from this roll. I don't know, I think there's something wrong with my camera, but at least the light leaks are in a pretty color, I guess. I would have rather they didn't happen, but at least they look nice. And I think there was something about knowing that each shot costs $3 that made me work a little harder to find nicer compositions and take nicer pictures, where with other film stocks or digital cameras, I would have just snapped the shitty photo anyway and just carried on with it. So yeah, I think there's something about the mindset, you know, like just knowing that each photo is extremely expensive, you have to make the most of it. I think that did play a factor in, you know, making the shots from this roll turn out really well. I think I did work harder to get the pictures that I did get from this roll. But I probably won't be doing this again. I probably will not shoot Natura for a very long time because yeah, I can't afford it. It's very expensive, as we all know. and it's just not financially sustainable. So yeah, it's been a great experience all in all. I had a lot of fun shooting the pictures on this roll, and I had a lot of fun editing the pictures as well. And this video was a joy to make. I think I'm really happy with it. It's just really aesthetic, and I will be making more content in the future, so stay tuned for that. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. So stay broke, shoot film. Peace.